second half, curtailing him to just 111. So evidently, Coach Allen made some adjustments and went in there and knocked some heads, and they straightened out in the second half, which is what they traditionally do. They're not giving up a lot of points in the second half of games. Like I said, only the Raiders game, the Falcons game, and the Carolina game. And in the Carolina game, Carolina got 3 pass interferences in the end zone around the goal line. So you can see the strides that Coach Allen is making with them, and so I mean, considering all the injuries and everything that's happened, and we got some people that's come back healthy, and Rankins is back, Bro is back. Hopefully Ellerby can get back on the field, and Stephon Anthony. So there's some hope there, man.
Yeah, it was good to see Bro and Rankins back in uniform for these guys, man. I guess the Saints feel so good about Rankins, they let our former third-round draft choice John Jenkins go, man. That's kind of disappointing. That draft class, the 2013 draft class, has got to be one of the most disappointing draft classes of this team. Who's the only person left? Vaccaro?
Vaccaro, that's it.
All right, guys.
I want to say this about our defense. The reason, everybody who's been paying attention to this show knows that myself and Professor too, from time to time, has been really hard on the offense for the past few seasons. And the reason I've been hard on the offense is because they have to run up the scores in the game. So that's the way we've been winning, and that's the way I'm accustomed to us winning. Now, when we won the Super Bowl, we didn't have a top-ranked defense. Our defense was ranked right along the middle.
Yeah.
It was just that, we always were putting up so many points that teams were always in catch-up mode. And all our defense had to do was stay right around the middle of the league, get a turnover here and there, get a pick six here and there, a few 3-and-outs, and that was enough from our defense to win the game. And I honestly don't think that in the past few years our defense has done much worse than that. It's just that our offense wasn't as potent. It's still great, but not as potent as it was in those Super Bowl years and a couple of years to follow. So this year, the offense now, and not in the first couple of games, but now seems to be back on track. They're potent enough that as long as these guys do middle of the road type of middle of the pack kind of defensive play, we have a legitimate chance as long as our offense remains potent.
And you know what else, Remy? I think Sean Payton has finally, after all of these years, figured out, man, a running game really does help. A running game really does help, man. And, what did I tell you, Professor, a couple of weeks ago? The way you be able to stop a bully, you got to be able to be willing to take some punches, but you got to hit them up the gut and hit them square on. You can't run from them. You got to hit them. We did that to Seattle, and we did that to the 49ers. Go ahead, Doc.
Another stat I heard today, and I don't know the exact numbers, but the stat I heard today was when the Saints run the ball more than 30 times a game, they're 40-4, I think.
Mm-hmm. In Sean Payton's era, right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I ought to say something. Run that sucker.
Run the football. Look, man, it makes a difference because the way you're going to be able to extend a career of a guy like Drew Brees is that you have to have a good balance of run versus pass, even though we have a great tandem that's emerging out of these young receiving core. But you got to have that mix going on. And you have two guys, you have a Heisman Trophy winner, and you have a guy like Hightower back there. Utilize their skill set. I still don't believe that Sean Payton is utilizing all of the running backing, not what's running backing, I'm sorry, running backs that we have. I mean, Murphy was inactive again, right? And you see, we really need to have him in the kicking game, man. That I mean, Cadet is good, but I mean, it was terrible. Yeah. Some of those kickoff returns was just terrible.
Not good at all. The special teams I thought was horrible.
Yeah.
They gave up a lot of big long returns, and I was like, oh gosh, special teams. I just thought special teams is not good. You don't have no playmakers at all in the punt and the kickoff. They have got to, and I know it's difficult for them, but they need to find a way to let Marcus Murphy play on offense. He was the top one in preseason, and see what he can do. Catch and pass out the back, but I believe they will be pleasantly surprised. Because right now we're just not getting. Tavares Cadet is a steady player, but there's nothing there. We're not getting any plays.
Yeah.
At all. He was much better at the end of last year, and I don't know what has happened, but there's nothing there. And that's the other area besides the tight end play. The Saints are still missing that, cutback, that pass catching, fast pass catching, and quick, out of the backfield on them 3rd and 5 that Darren Sproles used to always convert. Because one of the things that almost turned his game in the wrong direction was when the Saints was at midfield and on that 3rd and 5, he went for that deep pass to Thomas that was incomplete, and then they punted the ball to San Francisco. The next play or two, San Francisco threw a 65-yard. The guy went all the way for a touchdown. And the Saints are, when they play the teams like this upcoming stretch of, more tough defenses like Denver, Carolina, Arizona, and the Rams, they cannot keep leaving all these drives incomplete at the 50-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And so the offense is doing really, really great, but it's going to be imperative when they play these tougher defenses that they, find someone that can extend those drives when they get those 3rd and 5. So I would just like to see them give a chance. If it don't work out with Murphy playing on the offense, then at least you can say you tried to see if he can, catch the ball and, with that quickness and see what he can do. But I definitely concur with you. They have got to get him back doing the punts because right now there's nothing in our punting game. I know Tommy Lee Lewis had one return against Carolina for 59 yards, but we haven't had much outside of that one return. So it'll be curious to see in the second half of the season if Coach Payton will give Marcus Murphy a shot.
Yeah. And let me just recap what you just said. When those guys scored against us, the Saints had 1:05 left in the half, right? And that team drove the ball down 71 yards. We were able to get into position to kick that field goal. That was pretty good how we needed to end that half, especially since we were kicking the ball off to the 49ers for the start of the second half as well. So that was an excellent drive to end the half, man. Even though that there were some muggings going on the field by the 49ers, it was still good to have. All right, guys. I think the Saints are pretty good going into this game. I feel pretty confident in what we're able to do if we're able to still maintain a ball control game. The Saints really controlled the clock in this game too. That was really outstanding how much we were able to control the clock. But our defense also gave up 2 big scoring plays that we cannot do. We can't let Thomas, Demaryius Thomas, and we can't let the other guy, just score on us, man. We just can't do that. Right now, the Saints have given up 11 touchdown passes for the season. Guess how many we had last year total?
Last year we had almost 48 or something.
45.
48 or 49.
45. Yeah. So I think our pass defense is doing very, very well, but we're still giving up too much chunks at a time, too many chunk plays. All right, guys. Diva, I want to ask you a quick question.
Go ahead.
All right, that was on ESPN, and they had a debate going on. And this is about Drew Brees and versus, what's that boy, Phillip Rivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And LT said, LaDainian Tomlinson said the Chargers possibly missed a Super Bowl opportunity or two when they decided to let Drew Brees go to free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe he was right?
I say so. I mean, had you just given the man a chance, what it's a shoulda, coulda, woulda situation. You let him go, he went somewhere else, and that's usually how it happens. But at the same time, what's the number one phrase that most people tend to use when free agency happens? The NFL is a business.
Mm.
So you could have kept him, and you could have kept him and let him work through everything he had to work through before he even signed here. And who knows what could have happened there? But the cards played out the way they did,
Mm-hmm.
and we were on the winning end. So I think we made a good decision.
Okay.
They're lost.
Well, no, bro. I remember it was either 2006 or 2007. I'm not sure what season it was, but it was the year the year the Saints went to the NFC Championship and lost to
2006.
they lost to the Bears.
Right.
That very same year, Indianapolis went to the AFC Championship against the Colts, who eventually won the Super Bowl that year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they had the pieces in place without Drew Brees, with Phillip Rivers. They had the pieces in place, and somewhere along the way, they just let that puzzle fall apart. They had it even without Drew Brees. Now I understand what he's saying. They did get rid of let a great quarterback go, but they replaced him with another very, very efficient quarterback who took them deep into the playoffs.
Right.
And for some reason, they didn't build on that. So who's to say that the same thing wouldn't have happened had they kept Drew Brees?
Good point.
There's some kind of organizational issues there. I mean, because if you look at it, that same year with Drew Brees, we got just as far, just as deep in the playoffs as they did.
And you know what's so interesting since then as well, but we have the one Super Bowl, they don't, right?
Right.
They still have a better winning percentage overall that same time span up until now than the Saints do. Yeah. So, Professor, any thoughts?
I don't. I mean, I feel like I said, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Okay, shoulda, coulda, woulda. All right, guys, let's kind of go into this game. I know we talked a little bit more in depth about what has been happening, what the Saints should target. Remy, what are some of your X factors for this game for the Saints in order to bring home a win in the Superdome on Sunday?
Man, I kind of alluded to it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. Zach Street versus Von Miller. That is the key matchup of the game. The number one pass rusher in the league against the number one right tackle in the league. Whoever wins that battle, I think, gets the edge in the game.
Good point. I wonder if the Saints are going to try to get him some help, kind of get another tight end to double team him or something to that nature, and or try to run the ball toward him. Some teams have been effective doing that. You saw in the San Francisco game, man, Evans did a great job opening up some holes for Mark Ingram as well as Hightower from time to time. So I wonder if we're going to try to take some cues and run to the right side to kind of help those guys out.
Well, that's a good idea, but I say go back in the locker room, grab that bat that Reggie Bush had a few years ago, and crack him in the head with it. That might help.
Do a Tanya Harding on?
Yeah, do a Tanya Harding on.
Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh. Like Nancy Kerrigan.
She hit me. I can't skate it. I can't skate it now. But all right. Diva, what are some of your X factors for the game on Sunday?
X factors for the game, hopefully that number 13 can continue to catch passes. That Willie Snead can